What's going on, guys? My name is Nick, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to Investing Engineered. So I recently found this article talking about the average savings of Americans, and the results were absolutely shocking. The survey of over 5,000 Americans found that 58% of respondents had less than $1,000 saved in their savings account. Now, this could be interpreted in many ways, but the message here is that people really aren't saving enough each month. Now, if you're someone who's actually wanting to save a lot more money to eventually reach financial freedom, this video is perfect for you. Now, one important financial goal that a lot of people strive to achieve is to be able to save 50% of their take-home income every single month. Obviously, the more money that you make, the easier it will be to save that 50% of your income every single month. But no matter how much money that you make, you should still try your best to save as much money as possible every single month, because the more you save, the faster you'll be able to achieve financial freedom. As they say, it's not about how much money that you make, but actually how much money that you save each month that determines your financial success. So in this video, I'll be giving you some of the best and most practical tips to be able to save as much of your monthly income as you can. And if you do enjoy the video, be sure to gently tap that like button for me. It really does help out my channel in the long run. And make sure to watch right until the very end to be able to gather as much value as possible. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that you need to do as soon as you finish watching this video is to create a budget. Now, it sounds obvious, but I can assure you that no successful person that I know goes a month without tracking their expenses. You need to make sure that the amount of money coming into your bank account every single month far exceeds the amount going out of your bank account in monthly expenses. So the first thing that you're going to do when you first create a budget is to divide your after-tax income in half. If you want to be able to save over 50% of your income every single month, this is going to be the number that you cannot exceed in your expense column. Now that you have this total amount that you're allowed to spend every single month, you're going to want to divide it up into the different categories such as food, car expenses, living, etc. Now in the remainder of the video, I'm going to go through some of the most important points that should be on your budget and that you need to watch and track closely. I'll also give some of the recommended amounts for each of these different categories and how to reduce them even further. Alright guys, so the first thing we need to talk about on your budget is actually food. So the average cost of food for one person per month is about $250. So if you think about it, that's really not very much money to live off of. It's essentially less than $10 every single day per month. However, there are a lot of different ways to optimize the amount of money that you spend on your food, and the first is by making your own food. Eating and drinking away from home is actually one of the primary expenses that can destroy someone's budget. Usually if you're going to a restaurant, you're going to end up spending over $20 on a meal, while if you make that same meal at home, you can spend less than $5 normally. So if you think about it, it's over 4 times cheaper just to eat at home. The way to avoid eating out is actually by consistently going grocery shopping and meal prepping for the week. This will save you both money from not eating out, but also time in cooking. And this is exactly what I do to save time and money. For example, if I plan to make spaghetti for dinner, I'll just make 4 times the amount and then put the rest in the fridge for the rest of the week. So that's probably the number one way that you're going to save money on food. But the next way that I can actually save more money on food is by shopping in bulk at Costco. Costco has very small margins, meaning that the company sells their food barely above cost. So that means you're almost guaranteed to always get a good deal on food. You just have to buy a little bit more than normal. So whenever you're shopping at Costco and you happen to notice a deal on an item that you typically buy, just buy a lot more of that item. Even though you'll be spending a lot more up front, this will effectively reduce your average cost of groceries if you keep eating those items at about the same rate. For example, I recently found my favorite cereal Vector on a $2 discount. And so instead of buying 1 like I usually would, I just bought 4 and then I stored the rest in my pantry. So these were some of the best tips that I could offer in terms of reducing your food costs every month. But stay tuned in the future for another video on even more amazing ways to reduce your cost of food each month. Alright guys, so another huge expense on your monthly budget is the cost of owning a car. Car expenses are definitely in the top 3 worst money sinks on someone's budget, but they are necessary, so there must be different ways that we can figure out how to reduce these expenses every month. So first of all, a huge way to reduce car expenses is by not buying a brand new car, especially if it has really high interest rates on the loan. Everyone knows that as soon as you drive your brand new car off the lot, it loses about 10 to 15% of its value, and then even more depreciation over the next few years. Alternatively, and something that I would actually recommend to do, is buy a car that's about 5 to 10 years old privately. And so it's already depreciated about 30 to 40%, but still reliable in terms of maintenance. And if you buy a used car privately, you can avoid paying these dealership markup costs and also interest rates on a loan. Now, another way that I reduce my car costs is actually by buying cheap gasoline, and this I do at Costco Gas. Now, I do realize that Costco gas isn't available for everyone, but if it is in your area, definitely take advantage even if it's a little bit further away, because you normally get a 10-cent per liter discount compared to other gas stations around. And just a little hint, if you're here in Canada, you can combine that cheap gas with the Costco Capital One MasterCard and you get 2% cash back on all of your gas purchases. Finally, you can also save money on gas by driving a little bit more efficiently. Now, I know this might sound like it's going over the edge in terms of cost savings, but over time it does add up if you're not driving efficiently. To drive efficiently simply means that you take your time to accelerate and you only go the speed limit wherever you go. Despite it being really boring to get from point A to point B, I personally noticed an increase in the mileage in my car, and it's definitely saved me a lot of money on gas. Alright, so probably the most expensive part about your budget is going to be your living expenses, and this of course can definitely be optimized. So the most important concept that you need to apply is to live below your means. This simply means that even if you make a really good income, let's say $100,000 per year, you're not going to be living in the penthouse suite of your apartment. If you rent, it's really important to keep your rental expenses low, and you can do this by sharing a place with a friend or family member, or even living with your parents if you can. You could also rent out a single room within your landlord's house, and this is almost always going to be cheaper than getting a bachelor's suite or a single apartment. I'm personally living with my landlord right now, and I can honestly tell you it's a good deal if you get to share the entire house, but you only pay for the room. On the other hand, if you do own your own home, consider renting out a room or two just to be able to offset the cost of your mortgage and monthly expenses. And this may completely offset your cost of living and actually give you a bonus income every single month just by renting out a room. All in all, just be sure to do some research before you choose a place to live. Ask yourself questions like, is the place that I'm wanting to live cheaper than other houses on the market or rooms on the market? And what am I getting for this price? Many places can be a ripoff, and that's why you want to do your own research and not choose the first place that you find to live that looks nice. Alright, finally, one of the most critical categories that you need to watch every single month in your budget is your entertainment expenses. These can range from miscellaneous things that you buy on Amazon to getting a haircut, or even some of the small purchases that you make while you're out with family or friends. Unfortunately, entertainment costs add up very quickly, and they're usually the make or break of someone's budget. So first of all, it's good to keep a close eye on these expenses by limiting how much you spend online or when you're out with friends. One good strategy is to actually only go out with a certain amount of cash in your wallet, like you would at a casino to limit your losses, and this way you won't max out your credit card. However, if you do feel like you have self-control, be sure to shop with a rewards credit card to at least get the cash back or the points when you spend. Another huge entertainment expense for youth especially is actually alcohol. Alcohol costs can be absolutely insane, especially if you're drinking out at bars or clubs where they charge about $6 to $8 per drink. Now, if you do choose to drink, I would recommend buying from the liquor store or even a Costco liquor store if there's one available in your area. But personally, I choose to limit my alcohol consumption to times that I'm with friends or times that I want to celebrate. And by only having it on special occasions like this, you'll definitely save a lot of money every month. So hopefully this provided you some insight into handling the ugly entertainment expense category in your budget. If you can stay below $150 or $200 per month on entertainment expenses, I'd say you're doing pretty well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy or gained any value whatsoever, just smash the like button for me. That would be awesome. And if you haven't already, you'll definitely want to subscribe for more content on personal finance, business, and investing in the future. Until next time.